Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Corporate Escapists TV show. I am your host, Christine Innes, and I'm really excited to have our special guest, Celeste, here today. And we're going to have such an amazing conversation talking about money, finances, and how to get yourself set up right, especially during your transition from escaping the corporate world and also to set up, especially if you're going to go in and, start your own business. So welcome, Celeste, so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Christine.
I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Very excited to be here.
Yeah. Why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about your background and how you ended up working, in the sort of finance industry as well?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I entered into the banking world when I was 17 years old, and I was highly grateful to be employed in such an awesome industry at such a young age. However, over time, I felt that the constraints of the environment, the work that I was doing was just not lighting me up at all. And so by the time I got to 28, I was ready to leave corporate banking. And I did that, and I opened my own financial planning business, helping people in Australia with their finances. I niched to a certain market of people, and I've been operating my business for 4 years now independently, and have also moved into actually more money mindset programming with people. That's where I really enjoy making impact, is helping people understand how our thoughts and beliefs around money really can hold us back from having the life that we want with money. And understanding those things too is really important when we're transitioning from the corporate world into our own business.
I love that money mindset because it wasn't something that I even really thought of, especially when I was in the corporate world, because, you're earning six figures and, you're living the lifestyle and all of that. But then obviously when something happens, you sort of have to rethink of money in a different way. And we all have these beliefs about money as well. And there's things that came up with me thinking, oh, I didn't realize I believed that, or where that actually came from. And especially when you start your own business in particular, because you've brought up to think that the only way to succeed and to make money is in a traditional corporate role, or, the job 9 to 5, and you have to work your way up and, all of that. But it is, becoming, such a different way of thinking to have your own business, and that you can be successful and actually make money as well.
Absolutely. So, in some ways, being in the corporate world, if we compare ourselves to others, which we're always inclined to do, we go into a comfortable space, we work from a comfortable desk, and it can make it just that bit more challenging to leave that comfortable space and that comfortable money to really go into a place where we get to deliver our gifts and our value in a business. And the finances is definitely one aspect of that. So I get really excited about talking to people around how to transition safely with money, because really when we allow ourselves to move into our own business, that's when we can gain unlimited benefits, including unlimited income.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the we need to also have some sort of plan in place. I mean, it's, obviously sometimes there's circumstances that happen that we're sort of forced, to make the transition. But if you can actually plan for it, what are some of the things that you would actually recommend for people around sort of their finances to be able to get them set up successfully to make that transition a lot smoother?
Yep. So while I'm a financial planner, I'm not here today giving actual personal advice. I'm just giving general advice.
Yeah.
And transitioning from corporate world into self-employment, we want to look at how we can protect that income whilst we are still in a guaranteed employment situation. So things like income protection and insurances should things go wrong, so that we've got some income coming in if we were to get sick or disabled. Those things are really important, because without having those safety nets in place, the dreams fall apart. Everything else that we've set up, or that you go through to set up your business, completely falls apart. And that's because your business doesn't, at least at the start, at least for the first few years, just does not operate without you being in it and healthy. So one is making sure that we look at getting ourselves protected while we're in paid employment. So this is before we leave. And then secondly, it's around really looking at the budget associated with running your business, and how long it's going to take for that business to be sustainably providing you a level of income that you want. So it's going through all of the costs associated with doing business, and what point that you need to get that business to, at what price you need to charge your products to be making the income that you need to make, and then checking if those prices line up with the market. Because one thing is that I do find a lot of business owners tend to underprice themselves, especially because we feel so good about what we're doing. It almost feels wrong to charge money for it, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're so used to earning money, hating what we do in a sense, that it almost feels wrong to charge people. So it's really important though that we understand that your value and your gifts deserve money to come back your way. So as long as we're not, we're not charging $1,000 where every other competitor in the market is charging 50, and we're not, not overdoing it. We really need to understand where we need to be pricing ourselves so that we can meet those budget requirements that we need to be a healthy, sustainable business, so that we can continue to give our gifts in our business for the long term.
Yeah, I love that, because I think, you're right. Like, we're so used to just having this sort of income coming in and not really liking what we do. But then when we find our passion and purpose in life, that we're willing just to help so many people, that I even fell in the trap that I was doing so much for free that I totally even forgot to actually go, oh, you know what? No, this is a business. Like, I need to actually start charging, for advice and consultations. But I think that's where the mindset really comes in, is so powerful for people.
Yeah, it's a real flip. So we're just so used to, I have to, but I get money. We're so used to that sacrifice and that trade-off. And it's like, well, I'm not trading off my happiness for money anymore. But if you really take just a moment to allow yourself to believe that I don't need to dislike how I make money to allow a lot of money in, it can really change how we do business and how we allow that to come in. Because really, in a perfect world, and we've got to lead it for ourselves, is we should all be allowed to be accepting a lot of money and a lot of value in for the value that we're giving out to people.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my mottos is, the more I earn, the more I can serve. And it really changed my mindset, because the fact is that I love helping people and I love being able to give back. And if I can have more paying clients, it means it allows me then to be able to give time away for free, to be able to help people who may not be in the financial position, or be able to go out and give talks to people. So I think just changing that simple mindset, around, the perception of that it's okay to earn money.
Yeah, it's actually really healthy, and in a lot of ways, I think that my children are watching me, and I'm here to teach them a different way. So when I've got someone else, when I think about who's watching me, then it makes things a little bit easier. And when I think about how much more, as you said, you can serve, how much more impact you can make, because we just can't serve broke. It really doesn't serve anybody for us to be coming from a really empty place where we're you know scrambling to find money between couch cushions for milk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's not what, and it's also not what we're preaching. It's not what we're telling people that they should be empowered to do. So we need to learn that we are entitled to, should be able to receive more than enough for our gifts, to keep replenishing ourselves and keep replenishing the whole economy, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love it how you, touched on the point about, showing your children. And, one of my biggest things is that I believe that we can set such a huge example, and it's not just for our children, it is also for even our parents, like, to be, like, see the shift, in changes, especially in mindset, because it's something that was not, not part of their culture and sort of upbringing as well. But the ripple effect even now is so immense that it can go through our friends, our family, and into the community. And if we can actually be those, thought leaders and be able to make an impact, that they can learn from us in so many different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the only time, we're probably one of the first generations where we know more than the previous generation. Information's at our fingertips at any moment. So it's a really new concept for them to look at money in the way that we're trying to, and that I'm here to teach people to. But it really opens them up as well. And so it's not just a generation down, it's a generation up as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, it's interesting because my son, he has the traditional job, and, he's a diesel mechanic. And he goes, oh, I could never do what you do, Mum. And I said, well, it's about finding what you love doing, and I think that's one of the biggest things is that when we're in this corporate job, and I'm not here to say that, being in corporate is so bad. It's about actually finding your passion. It's about what's lighting you up. And you can do that in a traditional way or also in a non-traditional way as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So one of the other things that I really loved is that, we talked a little bit about before of, where, especially for people who are going through the transition and they're wanting to start their own business. And I know myself that you can get so overwhelmed of where you should be investing your money. There's all these different apps, there's all these different coaches, like there's all this stuff that's around us that we can go, oh my God, I need to do this. And I call it the shiny object syndrome, that you can just be, oh my God, I need to have this, I need to have this. What are some of the things that people should be focusing on, if they are looking at starting their own business, even when it's in transition or afterwards, that can really help them make such a big impact?
Yep. So in a financial sense, and just in a general business sense, is we always need to make sure that we're covering off on our compliance. So that is making sure that we're operating in a way that is legal and acceptable. So start with talking to your accountant. So no empire, no great business is built by one single person. We try to build it by ourselves, but we really need the right people in our team. And I think money is a very important team member. But one place we need to invest is in a good accountant for them to just give us the basics around structure, tax, and things like that.
Yep.
And we need to be aware of where our so my philosophy is that you play to your strengths in your business, and while you need to know all aspects of your business, there's parts that you can completely let go that don't serve you at all. So once you identify those parts that don't serve you, such as a lot of people don't want to run their own accounting or their profit and loss statements or their BAS, things like that. So feel free to outsource those things to the right people. Next, I really want to talk about people who use a lot of money to invest in courses and personal development. Like, they're amazing places to invest in yourself because you're investing in your mind. However, we can get to a point where we have spent so much money, but we still haven't done the damn thing. We still haven't launched. We think that if I spend more money on this flyer, if I spend more money on a Facebook ad, if I spend more money on branding, if I get better headshots, I'm going to be ready. So one is, you can launch a business with very little capital as long as you know what your startup costs are and your ongoing costs are, and you're able to meet those costs. However, don't think that putting your money into making things look good is going to get you the return that you want. A lot of the time it's just a symptom for our own lack of confidence. And we can make sure that we've got that confidence by really knowing who it is that we're here to serve, by identifying the problems that they have and how we can help them with them. By doing that, you're going to make sure that you let go of the fluff that's not necessary, that's just, another $30 spent with that company and $80 here and $90 here. It just starts becoming a bucket of money that just keeps continually leaking because we're not ready to take the action. So even if it's imperfect action, I recommend that people really look at, am I taking this action? Am I spending this money in my business because from a place of fear, as in I'm not good enough, I'm not ready? Or do I really expect that the return will be X, Y, or Z for my particular market? Will this help me really better serve them in a very, very powerful way?
Yeah. I think when the biggest shift for myself was that you are in corporate and you tend to speak a different language regarding the industry that you sort of work in. So you have your own lingo. But then when you start your own business, there's a whole new type of lingo that you actually need to learn. And return on investment was something that, I've sort of recently just really tried to understand, that if I spend money on this course or if I spend money on this program, what is actually my return on the investment with it? And I think we need to really start being a lot smarter to go, yes, it might help you with your mindset. It might help you, business coach, all that sort of stuff. But you need to be very, very clear what that return on investment is going to get and how long it's going to take you to get there. And it's the same with different programs. There's so much free things out there that we can use that you don't always need to have the platinum sort of service as well. but definitely ask that question. Return on investment, I think, is like really critical for anybody going into business.
Absolutely. And if you're not sure where you're coming from when it comes to when you're spending your money, just take a little time to actually just put some space between you and the decision and breathe about it, because money gone is money gone. So in small business, when we're starting out, there's not a lot around. So look into the free resources that are available. Follow great people on Facebook and Instagram who are there to give valuable advice. Follow some great influencers. Ask people who you admire and respect in business who they follow. They're great places for you to start without having to let go of all your money up front, because we need to be in a really loving relationship with money, looking after it, making sure it's there to serve us, and spending it in the right places.
Yeah, I love that, having a loving relationship with money, because sometimes I've always been like, all numbers, it is just not my thing. I cringe every time that I even have to do it. But now I check my account sort of like every day, just to sort of see what's coming out, and seeing whether or not, I need to still have this. But having that sort of loving relationship, that it's allowing me, and I appreciate that the money that I do, that does come in, that I can pay, to have somewhere to live. I can pay for my car, like I can pay for food, all that sort of stuff, and really switch that sort of mindset around, opposed to just going, it's just another bill.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's great, and it's just part of the circle of the economy. So I just love to look at money as an energy that's coming through us to allow me to pay for, or to allow me to exchange value and payment for that thing, and that flows out. And we just keep rejuvenating money. So in a practical sense, being mindful of where our money's going, just treating it really well with love, gratitude, and respect.
Yeah, absolutely. What were some of the, things that you learned that you had sort of, in hindsight now, especially during your transition, that you would have gone, I wish I had known, there's one thing, that would have been able to make the journey via your transition just that little bit smoother?
If it seems too good to be true, especially in the price, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
So when I engage in someone in a business sense, if they appear to be quite cheap, I actually won't work with them, because to me that tells me that that person has money issues and they're not willing to charge what they're worth. Therefore, if they're going to get bombarded with work, my work may not be priority.
Yep.
So to me, I come from a place of doing this myself, of not charging sufficiently to cover all my costs, having too many clients, and then underserving. So the last thing that we want to do is under deliver for our clients. So I wish I'd learned about money mindset and placing value on myself and what I'm doing for my clients much earlier. And saying that, I would not be anywhere other than here right now. So yeah, if it's one thing is just understanding your value, and that's looking at the size of the problem that you're helping your clients solve. If I was talking to my hairdresser, and when my hairdresser cuts my hair, if she makes a mistake, it's 6 weeks and I can fix it again. In my financial planning company, if I make a mistake, that can affect a person's whole financial livelihood. So we need to reflect to the responsibility, the size of the problem that we're solving for that client, and just be confident that the right people are out there looking for you. So that means that by doing that, by always speaking to a particular audience around money, we're going to attract the right people who are going to pay the right price to have you as part of their support team.
Yeah, I love that so much, because it took me quite a while to sort of value, what I was charging. I used to cringe, like when telling people, the cost of it. But now I know that, I give 110% to everybody that I work with. And I absolutely love, my call might be an hour, but it's very rarely would it ever go for an hour. Like it'll go more than that. So I really value, my clients as such, because I want to see the outcome. And I think that if we can really, value your own values as such, if that sort of makes sense, like we have to put, a price, and also, how much we value what we want to put out there and what we want to give to everybody.
Yeah, and if we get that wrong, if we continually put our prices as, say, I don't know, say 50% less than what we actually should, we're going to attract the wrong type of client into us, and we're not going to enjoy the work. And when we stop enjoying the work, things get really messy. You know, we can't give as much. We don't want to be in that space with that person. So we really need to be clear on who it is we're here to serve, what our price point is for them based on the problem that we're solving for them, and just be very confident with it, because as long as you're confident with it, the person that's looking for you to lead them with your business is going to gravitate to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that, you touched a little bit about who you want to work with. And I think that's really important because, it can take a little while to sort of work out, we talk about, this new terminology, niching and all that sort of stuff, but just to really work out, what type of clients you want to work with and, what is going to really light you up. You found what you love doing, but what type of people, with it. And I had an interview the other day and she said, date your purpose. And you can actually sort of like date your potential clients too, to actually find out, are they the right type of people that you want to work with?
Yeah, and it can change in time, but at any point in time, you need to be clear about who you're here for. I had this yesterday with one of my consultants I'm working for, and I didn't want to exclude a certain group of people, because a lot of us like to serve everyone, like, here, I've got light, I can help you. But he really pointed out, if I'm trying to serve everybody, I'm going to catch nobody, because I'm not going to actually appeal to the right person as deeply as I need to. And so it's so important that I just made the choice that, hey, I'm actually going to only be here for this group of people, and for people that jump on board, because perhaps what I'm offering, it does speak to them, but they're not actually my target market. That's okay. But as long as they know that I'm here specifically for people with these sorts of problems.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think also too is that when we go into business for ourselves, because we do want to help so many different people, but we also need to remember that we also have to look after ourselves. And sometimes we can really overserve, and that is detrimental to our own health as well. So we want to be in the best sort of physical, mental health that we possibly can to be able to give everything to our clients. And if we're trying to serve absolutely everybody, that we're not actually doing them justice either.
Yeah, yes. And for myself as a client of others, I don't accept that. I don't accept when people can't self-care, because I'm happy to pay them what they're worth, as long as they can give me what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And we need to lead that, because really people come to you for a service. So if we're continuing to undervalue that service and over deliver, at some point things have got to balance back out, and we're going to have a big crash.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, I, totally understand what the ramifications are of, doing too much, and how that effect can have on your health. Well, how do you yourself sort of balance sort of, life and work, to make sure that you can sort of still show up, and serve everyone?
Well, I don't believe in balance as such. I really don't. I think if you've got a small business, there's no way that you'll get 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of you time, and 8 hours of work time.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in that at all. Some people do, and that's great. I do believe in seasons, though. So I believe in, today I've been batching, so working on doing a lot of the same type of work in one go, which is creating content for my social media followers. I believe in July, to me, is a season of rejuvenation and reflection. So I'm looking at what's worked well in the last 12 months and what I want to implement in my business and change going forward. August, I'm booked in to reshoot my online money course. So that's starting to take action. But I'm not doing the same thing all the time. I'm giving a lot more energy at times, and then I'm coming back at other times to just make sure I'm working on the business as almost as much as I'm working in it. So yeah, I've started to delegate. I've started to let go of some things where I don't, I took me a very long time to allow myself to have a cleaner, because I felt too proud and I felt like that was my responsibility. But I really love giving money to Cheryl, our cleaner, and knowing that money helps her family. And that she does a great job, and I get to spend more time in my genius zone in my business and more time with my children, because I'm not doing the hours of work that Cheryl gives us. So a bit of delegation, batching, and letting things have seasons.
Yeah. I love that, the seasons, because I think that we all, have peaks and flows, even in our personal life. So just taking that time out to reflect of what's working and what's not working, in your personal life, but also in your business as well, is really, important, because we can think that something's going well, but we might be using, we could use our time and energy in a better, more efficient type of way.
Yeah, yeah. And if we're not reviewing our processes and the feedback that we're getting from clients, and we're just like nose to the grind all the time, we will burn out at some point. And you'd rather take that time proactively rather than reactively. And I got to my point in my business with my assistant where I said 80% of our time is being spent in the urgent and important section. If I was to sort of put things into sections, I'm like, we need to get more proactive rather than reactive, because it's not good for anyone's stress level, whether it's yours or the client. So it's good to have that time out.
Yeah. And I think having policies, or even just like a procedure in a business, regardless how small you are, because, as you do grow in your business, there are going to be those times where you want to delegate. And if you've already got that process outlined, and it could just be as simple as a Word document, that when you get a virtual assistant or you get somebody else in, that you can actually just show them how it's done. And you can then feel so much more confident that they're going to be able to implement, and take that delegation on, and make things a lot more seamless.
Yeah, absolutely. And the right assistant will just allow you to do more of where you really add the value rather than wasting your time on non-value add processes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I absolutely have loved this conversation, because I just think that it's, for me, money has always been like an icky subject. But the more that you do that, it's just, being allowed to do it, and just, take back that control and know your numbers, know your figures, and, really get somebody in there to help you as well. So thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a great, conversation, and I really hope that this inspires people to take some action as well.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you. Make money your friend, people. It wants to support you in your business. Just learn it and be good to it, understand it, and allow it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. Thank you to my wonderful guest, Celeste. And I really hope to see you next week in our next episode. So love and light to you all, and I'll be back next week.